Look! Look, the dynamic duo!
The sudden return of the population provided the necessary energy for the emergence to begin.
We came here 7,000 years ago to protect humans from the deviants.
Welcome to the Dynamic Duo. I'm Franz.
I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Avengers Tower in the Batcave, everybody.
Hey, Kevin. I'm pretty excited because we just came back from seeing The Eternals for the second time. And I have to tell you, I love this movie more the second time around than I did the first time around. And it's actually very disappointing and upsetting to me that this movie is not getting the respect and the love that it deserves. Because in my opinion, this is a great movie. It is beautifully delivered. What do we look for in a movie? What do we look for? We look for good directing. We look for good cinematography. We look for good action. We look for a good story. And we look for emotional impact and climax drama. This movie delivers on every single count, in my opinion. But it does something else. Something that makes me excited, something that makes me appreciate it even more. And that is to say, the character development that it has, the exposition, the depth of the subject, the connections of the characters, the relationships that they have, the things that they're discussing and talking about are so powerful and so interconnected to me that by the time the climax takes place, I am engaged, my friend. I'm involved. Every single punch that's thrown in that final end of the battle. And this is a spoiler review, so please be aware that we're going to be talking about spoilers. But when Makkari is fighting Ikaris, first of all, the delivery of the action is fantastic to me. I still say Chloe Zhao delivers the best speedster I've seen in any movie or even TV show. But not only is it the delivery, the special effects, the action well done, but the impact, the choreography of it, everything is excellent. And the drama of the fight is powerful to me. So that's just the superheroic action of it. The relationship that the characters have between one another, I get just as involved, just as caring. Listen, I'm babbling. The point I'm trying to say is that I love this movie.
I'm really glad to hear it because so do I. As Franz stated a couple of minutes ago, it's the second time we've seen it. The first time, and ladies and gentlemen, I have to admit this, not only to you, but to myself. When I saw The Eternals the first time, I enjoyed it. I thought it was an entertaining movie, but that's where it stopped and started for me. And I need to thank Franz for talking me into going to see this a second time tonight, because the movie opened my eyes in a way that it didn't reflect the very first time. And it was my own fault in the manner of speaking, but it wasn't done on purpose. I didn't go in with blinders on or anything. It was just somehow, some way, I didn't pay as much attention to a number of the details as I normally do when I'm watching a movie. And my partner is right. Chloe Zhao and everybody connected to the Eternals hit a double, if not a triple, home run. And if they don't give her back the Eternals a second time, because there is definitely going to be a sequel, somebody at Marvel and at Disney is making a mistake, because this movie is outstanding. You've seen the commercials, and a number of you have maybe even watched a number of the cast members do interviews concerning it. Trust me when I tell you, they're not even doing it justice. And I'm not speaking for my partner, but I'm telling you, I have figured out for myself, and yes, I'm going to say it for our audiences, and I hope people don't hate me for saying this, but I know why this movie is not doing all that well at the box office. The film has 4 elements in it that I mentioned to Franz earlier, and the way that these 4 elements are put together, I think it's scaring people, and they're shutting out everything in relation to it. And what I mean about the 4 elements, this movie has your comic book element, of course. That goes without saying because it's based on a comic. But in terms of storytelling, it has mythology in it. It has religion. It is actually involving elements of the classic hero's journey.
Yes.
It is also a very well-formed story in the sense that the way that Chloe Zhao set it up, it's everything that I just mentioned on top of being both sci-fi filled and fantasy filled. And as I explained to Franz from my point of view earlier this evening, basically what Miss Zhao did, she dropped every one of these elements into a blender. The woman hit puree and came out with the Eternals.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic line of storytelling because she doesn't lose one beat, one step. Nothing is missing.
Yes.
The biggest reason why I believe the audience is not catching on to this is because this is not a typical Marvel movie. And what I mean by that, you don't have Spider-Man climbing the walls. You don't have Captain America running around throwing the shield. Hulk is not smashing. And you don't have Black Widow running around trying to be cute and beating people up at the same time. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. But this movie forces you to think. You're not just sitting there looking at costumed heroes running around. You have to absorb it. And that's where I made my mistake the first time. And I apologize to Franz for not doing that. I do apologize for not completely taking it whole. And I also apologize to our audiences because I didn't treat the movie fairly by not doing that. And I really don't know how these same things got by me the first time I saw it. And the movie is just fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. First of all, stop listening to critics. Stop, and you're going to have a mixed bag of people that are going to like this, they're going to hate it, and on down the line. Go see the movie and make a decision for yourself.
We said that last time in the non-spoiler review. And I'm going to take it one step further, Kevin, as to why this movie is not being responsive. Is not being responded to. First of all, there are a lot of lies. Like, you know, YouTube is full of videos. Oh, this is a lesson for Marvel because the Eternals is a failure. This should be a slap in the face. The movie has made $72 million opening weekend compared to Shang-Chi, which made $75 million opening weekend. And Shang-Chi is being touted as a tremendous success, well, this movie is being touted as a tremendous failure. 75 to 72. That's a lie. So the question becomes, what happened to this movie and why aren't people responding to it? And I'm going to go there. And this show is not about, listen, we barely have any views anyway. This show is about the truth. And it's designed for people who are open to the truth and who see the truth. The reason why this movie is not doing well, Kevin, is because, and it's happened with other movies in the past, something that I've been observing for several other movies of the past. For some reason, and I know the reason, and I'm going to discuss the reason, but the internet, the powers that be of the internet, decide what's going to be good and what's not going to be bad from the inception. And the AIWs, the anti-inclusivity warriors, the people that are against any kind of diversity, any kind of social SJW movement, or any issue like that, get on their bandwagons and start attacking a movie and start attacking directors and start canceling the movies prior to them coming out. This movie was being panned way before it was coming out, as other movies have been in the past, whether it's because it's a DC movie or whether it's because it's a female character. These movies get labeled beforehand, and what happens is, I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to. You know, the same thing happened with Justice League. Joss Whedon's Justice League. It's like, oh, this movie sucks. Oh, it's the worst movie I've ever heard. Have you seen it? Oh no, I wouldn't see that trash. How the hell do you know it sucks? It happened with Mulan. I was talking to my daughter and she's like, oh my God, this movie is the worst movie. I would never go see it. I'm like, oh, why do you say that? Oh, because I'm telling you, it sucks. They ruined Mulan. I'm like, did you see the movie? She's like, no. And I'm like, let's watch the movie together. By the end of the movie, I'm like, oh my God, this is a pretty good movie. It's a very good movie. So it's established, and Rotten Tomatoes jumps on the bandwagon and confirms it with their stupid rating. I hate Rotten Tomato, by the way. And so a lot of the hatred that's coming with this movie is coming from that AIW, anti-inclusivity, I hate SJW, don't give me a message. I've spoken to people who've said, oh, I didn't like the movie, it wasn't that great. I'm like, why? What's the matter with the movie? And they're like, well, why did they have to be a deaf character? Why the Celestials created a deaf character? I'm like, that's what you come out of the movie. That's what you've spotted of all the things that are in the movie. That's what you're focusing on. So to me, you're looking for issues. Why is there a gay character? Why is it, the Eternals didn't have a black person? And so the focus becomes, I don't want to receive the message, and it taints our ability to appreciate and view this movie. So I'm asking the audience to look beyond that and to not let yourself be conditioned by this brainwashing movement. And here's the hypocrisy of it all. These so-called people who are against social justice warriors, they hate cancel culture. And their process is to cancel what they hate. So when a director goes against them or does something they don't like, they attack that director or that movie or that genre, essentially canceling it. So this movie, there's been a tremendous movement to cancel this movie. And it hasn't worked because it still made $72 million for the opening weekend. And it still was the #1 movie the second weekend in a row. So here's the truth about this movie. Chloe Zhao is a brilliant director, absolutely brilliant director. And I'm gonna start the movement right now. And if anyone out there sees this or hears this and agrees in any way, shape, or form, please help start this petition. We are starting on the Dynamic Duo the petition that Chloe Zhao should be the director of the Fantastic Four. The team dynamics that she gets, basically, there are times when I'm watching the Fantastic Four on the big screen. Gilgamesh with his power, I'm like, I'm seeing the Thing. And Reed Richards with Icarus being the leader and so on and so forth. Her ability to deliver that family team dynamic of people who love and care for one another deeply and yet disagree and fight with one another. absolutely brilliant and absolutely what the Fantastic Four is all about. But here's why she should direct the Fantastic Four, is because while she's delivering that, she's pulling out the best performances from her actors, my friend, and she's delivering on the action, my friend, and she's doing it in a super heroic way. There's action, there's superhero action. There's James Bond type of action, and then there's Justice League Superman type of action. Okay, she's delivering it in a beautiful superheroic way while giving you the intimacy of the relationship between the characters, while giving you a fantastic epic story. Dude, I mean, this movie to me gets a plus plus plus.
I couldn't agree more. And if you'll allow me to add, along the line of what people are saying about Makkari being deaf, or other characters within the movie being gay, or they've changed races, or they're gender bending, and that kind of thing. Ladies and gentlemen, because this is a spoiler review, I'm going to take that same step that Franz just did. If you don't want to hear what I'm saying, stick your fingers in your ears. Hopefully you won't, and you'll listen. But the changes in the Eternals work for several different reasons. The overall theme of the movie is about the human condition.
Yes.
It's about us as people on a very broad and open scale. And the world itself is made up of blacks, whites, Hispanics, women,
yes,
Asians,
yes,
people that are height challenged, the disabled,
yes,
the blind. I could keep going all night.
Yes.
What they ended up doing with the Eternals was to make I'm gonna use a terrible phrase there, because I don't really like saying this, but they created a rainbow in reality.
Yeah.
They gave you a reality. The world is made up of everybody that I just said.
Yeah.
That's what they gave you for the cast.
Yeah.
The cast is not just somebody that looks like George Clooney and sounds like The Rock.
Yeah.
You know.
And if I may jump in, Kevin, I'm sorry for jumping off, but I'm a little bit excited about this thing. There are several points that you just made that are very important for the audience to understand and to know. First of all, we are purists. And when you change Spider-Man, and when you change Superman, or when you change Captain America, we don't want that change, because these are established characters who should remain the way that they are.
Exactly.
That's not as real, as connected of an issue with the Eternals. Why? Because nobody knows the damn Eternals. Nobody cares about the Eternal comic books. So if you're going to make changes, make it in the Eternals. Don't make it in the Avengers. So that's point number one. Point number two is that Jack Kirby, in his creation of the Eternals, and the Eternals is a singularly Jack Kirby creation, he intended it to be diverse. He absolutely, so, basically what Jack Kirby did, which is what this movie does brilliantly, is it connects the superhero to mythology. It's ancient aliens. It's what you said earlier in the beginning. You said it blends sci-fi. It blends spirituality and mythology and all those different genres within one, and beautiful, a depiction. That's what Jack Kirby intended. There were Aztec gods. Ajax is an Aztec god. That's not a creation of Chloe Zhao. That's what he was. And so on and so forth. Now, Jack Kirby of the time was limited, and maybe he didn't include a black character. He certainly wouldn't have thought to include a gay character, and so on and so forth. but that spirit is in Jack Kirby's comic of diversity, of mythology. Secondly, it makes sense. We live in a world now that we know that, European Greek gods are not the only gods in human history. And so if we're going to have mythological beings interpreted as gods, yeah, let's include the Inca gods, let's include African gods, and let's include other types of gods, because as you said, the world is made up of those people, including the disabled. So there's two things that I want to say about that. This movie answers everything. There are no plot holes in this movie. And the question that could be raised is, well, if the Celestials are going to create these perfect beings of Eternals, why would they make someone with a disability? Well, that question is raised when I forget the young girl says, why did he make me that way? Why did he make me young? And the answer is, I don't know.
You're speaking of Sprite.
I'm sorry. Yes, exactly. Of course. When Sprite says, why did he make me young? And because it's a very important point of the movie, her youth, and stops her in many ways from growing up. And it's a big focus of the movie. And she says, why did he make me that way? And the answer is, we don't know. And I think your answer is applicable. That is to say, it reflects our life. It reflects our society. And that's how the Eternals did it. And he did it in a way to say, we're all equal under the eyes of whether, whatever you want to say, God or the creator of humanity. That's the point. And well, I'm sorry for going on, but I have to admit, when I saw the gay characters, I thought to myself, okay, good. But then when they were interacting with each other and they kissed each other, again, this is a spoiler review, I thought to myself, why do that? And the reason I thought that to myself is not because I thought it was inappropriate, but it's because I knew that this would trigger the AIWs. And I knew that it would trigger hatred for this movie. And it has. So I'm thinking, why do that? But then as I thought about it, I realized why it was important. It was a courageous move. And I applaud both Kevin Feige and Chloe Zhao for doing it. Kevin, it was what Star Trek did in the 1960s of having Captain Kirk kiss a black woman. That's the courage. We take it for granted. Now, by the way, the world still hasn't completely fully acclimated to interracial relationships. Movies are not, it's not a given that the white lead is going to fall in love with the black actress or vice versa. So we're still not there 50 years later. But it took 50 years of courage of Star Trek to say, people, stop it. We are dealing with human beings. And you do that when with a popular show, not with a failing show. That's where courage comes from. And that's why it was important for that scene to be in that movie. So that we can stop thinking in a prejudicial way. And we all have those prejudices inside of us. And I just find, I just applaud it. I find it courageous. And if you find yourself thinking, oh, disgusting, oh, well, agenda, ask yourself, which side of history do you want to fall on? Let's go back 50 years. And do you want to be the person that says, oh, the races should mix? Is that who you want to be? Nobody's forcing you to be homosexual or gay or black or white or female or anything like that. All we're saying is, can you let someone be who they are? That's it. Let me be who I am. And so I applaud that step. I applaud the courage of this movie, and I applaud the brilliance of it. It delivered on many different levels, both from an action point of view, a child could enjoy it, but from a philosophical, there were questions and debates that were going on in this movie that got me going as an adult, like saying, wow, what should they do? I'm sorry, I'm going on. Go ahead, please.
No, it's fine. And if you want to continue.
No.
But I want to personally close by saying this much. Even though Jack Kirby may not have been the creative or writing equivalent of Stan Lee, he was brilliant in terms of the Eternals for one thing. And I don't know if anybody has actually caught this yet, but it entered my mind tonight. The story elements and the things that make all of this work, or make classic stories work, classic movies work, even
Yes.
music.
Yeah.
The pieces that make us enjoy this material, okay? The hero's journey, the challenges, the fights, the romance, the action, all of these things combined, they've been here and been part of who we are as a people since
Yes.
we started with cave paintings.
Yes.
The things themselves are eternal and have never gone away. And Mr. Kirby has given us the Eternals.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm gonna be, you know what? That's brilliant. That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to readily admit that I did not make that connection, but you're absolutely right. Therein lies the Eternals. You're absolutely right.
Sure.
The mythological characters are eternal. The hero's journey is eternal. That storytelling style is eternal. You're absolutely right. That is brilliant, my friend. That is absolutely brilliant. I want to close on that note because it's so good, but I don't know, man. I just want people to purge themselves of conditioning. Purge yourself of conditioning and go see this movie with an open mind. And I cannot fathom how you don't love this movie. I can't do it because I can't do it. I can't do it because what's a movie? You get to care about the characters, therefore care about what happens to them. And if what happens to them is dramatic, then you're engaged, you're involved, and you're entertained. Well, I get to care about the characters. I get to care about what happens to them, and certainly what happens to them is absolutely dramatic and had me engaged. So I don't know how you don't love this movie without bringing some sort of agenda to it. And it's one of those things that is worth seeing twice. As you said, it's better the second time around because you're picking up details that you didn't pick up the first time around. Every point is answered. People are telling me, oh, there's plot holes in the movie. Plot hole? You want to talk about plot holes? Plot holes? You want to talk about Thor Ragnarok? Okay. Let's talk about plot holes in Thor Ragnarok. And let me do this very quickly. Very quickly. Thor Ragnarok is being lauded as great movie. Why Thor Ragnarok is great? I'm watching these damn YouTube videos as to why Thor Ragnarok is great and Eternals suck. Thor Ragnarok. You don't have to get that in.
Go ahead.
By the way, I want to do a show just on why I hate Thor. Not why I hate Thor Ragnarok. Why Thor Ragnarok is a bad movie, and I'm going to give you a taste of it. I'm just going to give you one little taste of it. Thor.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, bro.
Thor and Loki are escaping from Hela. They're using the Rainbow Bridge system to go back to Asgard. They get interrupted by Hela, and they get thrown, okay, into the vastness of the universe. Not the galaxy, but the universe. They end up in a different galaxy. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But not only do they end up in the same galaxy, in the same star system, the same planet, the same city in the planet, the same gladiator arena as the Incredible Hulk, with no explanation as to how the Hulk could possibly have gotten there. You're not telling, there's no plot holes in that movie? And that's just the taste of it. I'm sorry to get riled up, but it's ridiculous that I'm hearing plot holes in a movie that actually has no plot holes compared to a movie that's full of plot holes. It's full of, it's nothing but plot holes in Thor Ragnarok. Forgive me, my friend. Forgive me. I had to get that one in there.
You're gonna make Chris Hemsworth cry.
Chris Hemsworth, listen, man. Oh my God. Because I blame a lot of it on Chris Hemsworth. You know, clowning Thor and making him a joke. That comes from Chris Hemsworth and that Taika Waititi director nonsense. You know, I can't stand that. It's ruined my thought. By the way, you know, I'm sorry. You want to talk about a good Thor movie? Give me Chloe Zhao directing a Thor movie and we'd get a Thor movie. My Lord of mercy of my soul. That's how you go. That's how you deliver a Thor movie. Give me the drama, the pathos, the mythos, the everything that's associated with Thor, the same way that Chloe Zhao delivered the Eternals, and give it to me in a Thor storyline where he's going up against Mangog or the Destroyer or Surtur or any one of those great characters that Thor has faced that are global and don't get me started. My friend, listen, guys, I don't know if you're gonna like this conversation or not. One thing for sure is that we're truthful about it and we're giving you our honest opinions. Some of it may go against your thinking, but all we ask is that you be open-minded and to judge for yourself. And if you find yourself agreeing, help us out, share, click the like button, click the notification bells, do whatever you gotta do to support us. We need the help.
See you soon, folks.
All right, my friend.